We got Nick back on the iPad talking about a lot about what these offensive tackles have shown through their college careers, and then we're going to break them down. Today we're going to start with Oregon State's Taliese Fuaga.
Yeah. Great player. We're going to just play this YouTube video we found up there with just some different highlights. He's number 75 on your screen. And I think just the thing that you can just look at right away is just the size and athleticism that he brings to the field. I mean, he is just a mountain of a man out there playing right tackle. That's where he was last season for them. And I think that's probably where he best projects in the NFL. I don't know that he has necessarily that with the traits you want to be a tremendous left tackle, but he's really good on the right side, and he ultimately might end up being better as a guard, but he's really good. Just look at the way he moves in the run game, and you see these zone schemes here, which kind of makes him a little bit more projectable to what the Saints are looking to do. And he just gets out there, and he's just a nasty guy. Like, you see him just getting a guy with one arm there, just a ton of strength, just gets that arm in his chest, and he's just kind of a killer. And then he moves well on his feet. He drops. He just does everything kind of really well. And I mean, he has exceptional ability to kind of bend and just, he just moves really, really well for his size. And the strength is just kind of one of the incredible things. For me, I think he's probably number 2 on my list behind. Well, I mean, Joe Alt's obviously number 1. And then I go to Fashion, who I think is the guy that I like is the best fit. But I think Fuaga is the next guy on that list. And then Fautanu, I think would be the next
JC
one.
Latham.
Would be there for me. Yeah, JC Latham's in the mix as well. But I think that, if you're asking me, I think the odds are that it's probably Fuaga or Fashanu are probably going to be the guys that are most likely to be available at 14. And I don't think you can really go wrong with either one. I like Fashanu a little bit better because I think he has a little bit more upside. And I think with Fuaga, he's kind of, what you see is what you get a little bit. And I think you kind of get some of that with Joe Alt too. I don't know that there's a ton of ceiling there left for him. I think he's probably kind of really polished and kind of about what he can be. I think what makes Fashion exciting is that you look at him and there's just a lot of abilities still there. But I mean, I think if you get Fuaga, he's a starter day one. Look at him leading the way on this play. Yeah, I like the stuff that he brings, and I think that if you get him, you're extremely happy to get him. And I think that guard tackle flex is something that is kind of valuable, just given the state that they're in, where you don't know kind of really what they need, who they have, or where they're going.
Well, you also made the point, and I don't think this should be the only reason they draft someone. You got to be able to project that you can coach someone and teach someone, but he is the most familiar of any of the guys you really studied in their current system, right? Like the wide zone runs and everything like that.
Just I mean, they all have some, but I mean, that was kind of bread and butter, kind of the thing that they were into. I think anyone can kind of pick that, but I think the projectability.
He showed he could do it.
You know exactly what you're getting. It's safe. It's probably the safest out of the two. Like Fashion and him, he's considerably more safe because you look at it and this is exactly how he fits, and you see it. So it's a great point. I mean. Sometimes, I think every team, and what I mean by that is every year is different for every team. And sometimes I think some years you got to make the safe pick, and other years, and I'm not saying Fashion is a dangerous pick by any means, but I think there's no exact fit to it. I think it's kind of an art every year. And if you want to cut down the margin, I mean, Fuaga, I think you grab him, and he looks exactly what he looks like right there, and he fits exactly how he's going to fit.
First of all, if you call it a safe pick, fans are going to hate it and immediately kill him for it, although that's not necessarily true because Trevor Penny wasn't a safe pick. Peyton Turner wasn't a safe pick. But, look, we're going to go over each of these guys. I agree. Joe Alt's my favorite. Fashion my second favorite. I mean, I don't see Teron Armstead. I'm not guaranteeing that, but, I see the athletic special left tackle in Fashion. Fuaga, I think, would be a right tackle. They need both. That's not a problem. I really got interested in JC Latham. The things I don't know about JC Latham are, the things that these teams have to figure out. What kind of guy is he? What kind of how much more can you get out of him? And Fautanu, I've seen a lot of love for him. I think I like Fashion second, Latham third, but if I had to bet money based on what I expect to happen, I think Fuaga is the most likely guy to end up a Saint, just because I think Fashion goes before they pick. I think they'd pick Fuaga over Latham. My issue with Latham is that
sometimes when you watch, and we aren't going to do a film study on him, so I'll just point out, I like so much of what he does. The one negative for him, the one thing that I would look at and it would make me say, I don't know, is that sometimes you can watch him and he looks disinterested. And sometimes you're just like, wow, like it's a tough thing. So, I mean, you would have to kind of figure out how to reconcile that and why that was and why it looks that way and if what you're seeing actually is. Like, that's where those meetings come into play so much. But when I watch him, that's the one trait where I'm looking at him versus Fuaga. Like, I'd lower Latham just a little bit because there were just a handful of plays where you're just like, So, I think that's the one thing that you would have to try to reconcile. But that's why those meetings and all that are so important.
It's unquestionably a good thing that the Saints get to have this conversation about 5 guys.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to say they reach to fill a need. Not when you're choosing between 5 guys. If you were convincing yourself on the one guy left, maybe, not when you have this many good choices.
Yeah, and the difference between 5 guys and these 5 guys is that they might actually get good value for it and not feel like they're overpaying like you would at the other 5 guys.
Nah, for sure. I mean, seeing Fuaga at the Senior Bowl, he definitely got some good reps against top talent like Latu and everything like that. But, y'all make exceptionally good points, and you got to be subscribed to NewOrleans.Football to continue to find out their thoughts.